Okay, I'm coming. Here we go. Okay, so another in the series of what to shoot for stock, or ideas for shoot for stock, micro stock. Going through the stock market book from a number of years ago, and kind of going through each chapter, or would be each category, and trying to draw from it what the stock markets thought would be big seller areas for them in the past, and trying to look at the idea that a certain amount of that's going to exist today. That'll still be a big market area. So that would be a good area to learn about, to photograph if you want to make money shooting stock images. So the next chapter I've got, which is their biggest chapter, and this was just called corporate back then. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Largest section in the book at 30 pages, and I'm just going to just do this section this time. This, of course, is what made the corporate handshake as the image famous, and they've got plenty of those in this section. Some of the observations: one, it's all white people. There's no diversity whatsoever. There was no any other ethnics other than Caucasian in the whole section. You had men and women both, because women lived to come in, but only top execs were men. Definitely represented the glass ceiling that was there and still goes on. From there, you start getting quite a diversity of things they had. They also included in this, they threw financial in this also, which today I think they break out. They also break out anything of middle management. This is just all your up top level, making the big deal kind of thing going on. They had some abstract images, but a lot more with people going on. Some of the things I saw in here were like the lone corporate warrior out there for the company. A lot with making the deal, two execs talking together. Amazingly enough, not as many let's do lunch, which really was kind of starting to fall out of favor, but had been very popular. All the deals were made over lunch. So we've got a lot with time. The bending of time. Time is money. There's not enough time. So time represented what they had a limit of, and that represented what they were selling. You sold your time at this level because you weren't making anything. It was your knowledge base. It was your ability to negotiate, to carry out things. It was part of this. You had the handshake, the meeting, getting together for the meeting, the work group, the presentation, and then symbols of juggling it all, of what was going on. You go through and first, just a few pictures, very first pictures of showing people working out of the office. Otherwise, almost all of this was in an office setting. It was also all in business attire. The idea of a casual Friday, or what you might see in high-tech areas today of a looser thing. This was strictly all suit and tie, and generally black suit and tie going on. A lot of people-to-people interaction going on. Conferences or at a conference going on. So again, this we're seeing in the past what was going on. You can do nice things to contrast to what you might be thinking or seeing today, to contrast with that. So it's a history lesson, but it's also things you can derive ideas out of for how to look at corporate, look at upper level, the Fortune 500 companies today, to try to symbolize what management is doing there, but also then how it may have changed from this time. But some of the pressure, some of the things are still going on. They got a lot of people talking on phones. You got a lot of people not too much supervising. These are your deal makers, your collaborators. These are your people working in teams to do something. Get a lot of people talking on the phone. Occasionally you got some people that are actually listening. You got your people looking like top execs together as your team, your executive team. Used to be a lot of promoting our executive team being the one that you're buying for this company, and you want to know our executive team. So again, a lot of making the deal, a lot of celebrating making the deal. So everybody going, hey, we just got the phone call and we got the deal in. So photographs of that. You got people drowning in work. They're trying to keep up with this level and this time. It was just overwhelming for them to do that. You have some pictures of people studying to learn about what was new, what was coming up. People sitting at computers. Of course, it's a time, no laptops, no cell phones, none of that going on. That hadn't come in yet. So the images today would be driving the new technology and how that new technology is affecting what represented business 20 years ago and how business is done today. So lots of photographs with people. And I think that's still going to be true. It's still on that level. A lot of it still gets down to people interacting, people doing things. So far, it's not an area that they can outsource. It's not an area that they can just turn over to an algorithm on a computer to take care of. This is where your talent pool is supposed to be meaningful, and you're looking for images that would represent that. The idea of the rat race is there. Again, most photos office setting. Then we start moving into an area that was included in it that we're kind of shifting, where the charts. I mean, charts were always big. Always got charts going up. You got charts going down. So you got to have charts in there, and those represent some of the concept shots to start working with that. This also again included finance. So you got stock market. You got to have the stock market floor, stock market building. You're going to have money. You're going to have how to get your money, ATM machines, things like that. Well, now that's going to really change. You got a whole Bitcoin thing going on. You've got a situation of wallets and phones. You need photographs that kind of represent all that as the time changed. The concept, though, is money. You're still going to have to do something with money and finance. And again, I think a lot of seeing today that's more in a separate section where it's represented as for finance. Back in this era, they had the euro was coming on, but it still meant the symbol is the pot of gold, gold bullion, still represented the idea of wealth. And all this is to generate wealth. Again, the trading markets said the piggy bank. Piggy bank remains a symbol. And all kind of things, even today, a lot of things are done with piggy banks to represent a symbol and used for that. Saw things with direction, which way to go, things that represent a choice. You've got to spot how you represent that choice, that decision where to go on it. Again, not seen is any diversity and no casual Friday. That concept hadn't come in yet. Everybody is really doing the suit and tie. If anything, they've taken the coat off, they rolled up their shirt sleeves, but they've maybe taken their tie off, but then they're working late. So again, this represented a really big section in the book. So this was definitely a major bread and butter area for stock markets back in the day. Your financial institutions had money. They were trying to, I could be cynical, say they're trying to set up boiler rooms to get money out of other people. But it represents that. Definitely got to have the handshake, all these other ideas. It's also, we're reaching in the book where typically when you get a book like this, it just people fall to the middle when they first look at it. So they were putting their perhaps their best money makers in the middle of a book, because that's where the first place you're going to kind of open it up at. Most people with a book like this isn't going to go. They aren't going to go to the front. It's going to be easy places where it falls open to. So kind of approaching the middle of the book, the main money maker categories. So that's corporate, which again now I think is broken more into business and finance and maybe other categories now. But it lives on. It's still going to be a major section because, as they say, it's part of the golden rule that them that got the gold make the rules. And so they still got the money to spend on advertising and on their image. And that lives on. So hope you'll find that interesting. Things I need to keep in mind when I'm shooting. And I thank you for watching.